Hey, what is up guys? Guitar here, welcome back to another Genshin Impact video. Oh god, you have to run away. Man, can't I just do my intro peacefully? Alright guys, today we're gonna talk about the Stand By Me event that's coming in patch 1.3. So I'm sure all of you are very excited and you're still thinking of which one you want to go for in terms of the 4-star characters. Now, for those of you who are not aware, the Stand By Me is available for every single player if I'm not mistaken, and you can choose one of the Liyue's 4-star characters. Alright, so your options are going to be between Xiangling, Xinyan, Beidou Ningguang, Xingqiu and Chongyun. Alright, so it's going to be overwhelming, especially for the newer players. So that's why I've decided to make this guide, hopefully to help out the newer players. If you are a veteran player, you have been playing since day one, you would have no problem picking your specific character that you want. I'm gonna say this first beforehand. Alright, which one I think is the best. In my opinion, I would say the best one if you don't own any of these characters, right? Let's say you're a new player, you do not own any of these characters, you're not looking at the constellations at all. You're just looking to pick up a new character. Xingqiu is going to be the best character for you to pick. I know what you might be thinking, I don't like this guy, he doesn't look that enticing. Like, that's my first impression. He looks like a trap. Alright, Xingqiu is a guy, for those of you who don't know. You might think this is a female, but it's not. Alright, so again, why is Xingqiu so good? I want to clarify this that, look, my Xingqiu is friendship 10. I've done multiple guides on my channel regarding Xingqiu. You can go check them out. But here's the thing, here's the gist of it. Even if you don't intend to use the character, even if you don't intend to use him, he has the best passive talent among all the 4 stars. Best passive talent. Alright, this talent, when you craft character talent materials, you have a 25% chance to refund a portion of the crafting materials used. This particular talent has saved me multiple resins, alright, where I craft the talent books and you just get so much in return. Sometimes you can get a lot, sometimes you get a little bit, but the gist of it is it saves you resin in the long run. If you intend to play this game, you know, for another 6 months, for another 1 year down the road, Xingqiu is going to be super future proof. Even if you do not intend to use him as a character, alright? His passive talent, like, it's just something that everyone can benefit from. Alright, so any of these books that you're looking to craft, right here, select Xingqiu, you can see 25% chance to refund a portion. Now, comparatively, everyone else in this list does have their own passive talent, but mostly it's just regarding cooking dishes, like for Xiangling and Xinyan. You know, and Beidou's one is more towards a 25% reduction in stamina when you are swimming, etc. Like, those are not super useful in my opinion compared to something that Xingqiu can offer. So if you are looking specifically to just pick a character but you don't intend to use them, you don't intend to build them yet because you're currently working on someone, alright, like you're working on Albedo or Ganyu, or maybe you intend to pull for Xiao, then yeah, I think Xingqiu is gonna be the best one for majority of the players. Now, as of the time of me making this video, we are still not aware of what 4 stars will be available in the Xiao banner. Now, if you look at the current banner, okay, Xingqiu is right here, alongside with Xiangling, alongside with Noelle. So if you want, you can risk pulling for Xingqiu, for sure, no problem. But if you really want to save for Xiao, every single one of your Primal Gems you plan to invest in the Xiao banner, then I would suggest picking him. His value is undeniably the best out of all the 4-star characters. And if you have the mindset that, oh, Xingqiu needs to Constellation 2 or 3 to be good, no, he doesn't. He really doesn't. I see a lot of players spreading that everywhere. Oh, this character needs a C2 to be good. Or this character needs C5. For Xingqiu, I can guarantee you, I can reassure you, my Xingqiu has been C0 for the longest time ever. Alright, I've been using him since day 1. In fact, I beat Spiral Abyss 11 and 12 with C0 Xingqiu. Alright, don't worry about Constellation. You really don't need them. And now, I'm not saying that his Constellations are bad. Constellations are always good on characters for sure. But in terms of making him super useful, no, you don't really need them. Like, this one is good. Increase the maximum number of rain swords. This one is going to be good as well because it decreases hydro resistance of the enemies. So therefore, your Xingqiu would indirectly deal more damage, right? And then the C4 increase your damage by 50% during the duration. And then you have C6 activating 2 of Guhua Sword Rain Cutter Sword Rain attacks greatly increases the damage of the third. So it gets really strong when you go up, of course, but you don't really need them. Now, who would be the second choice after Xingqiu in my opinion? If you were to pick one of these characters? Now, it's going to depend, right? Xiangling, you can obtain her for free. Everyone can obtain her for free. If you played Spiral Abyss, Floor 3, Chamber 3, complete up to that, you are getting Xiangling for free. So I don't really think you need her. Now, we're going to talk about Constellations later. So in terms of needing a character, just specifically for usage case, I'm going to lean towards Xinyan as the second one. Now, why Xinyan? Alright, Xinyan can do a couple of things that the other characters can't. Actually, Beidou can as well. It's a bit complicated between Xinyan and Beidou. The reason why is because the ability to create a shield. Alright, if you look at the talent, Xinyan, if you guys are not familiar with her ability, she creates a shield that surrounds you. Alright, this shield deals pyro damage, yes, but what it also does is it imbues you or infuses you with pyro. So this is very useful in certain Spiral Abyss floors. I mean, if you guys play Spiral Abyss or you intend to in the future, Xinyan is going to be a good one. Now, almost all the characters that can create shield can do similar things. Diona can do that as well, Zhongli. I'm not sure about Noelle, not too sure about Noelle because I haven't experimented with her. But yeah, if you don't own any of the characters that have the ability to make shield, Xinyan is super useful in that scenario. Now, Beidou has the same thing as well going on for her, but if I'm not mistaken, she needs at least Constellation 1. Yeah, she needs a C1 for this extra shield if I'm not mistaken, so hers is a bit complicated. Beidou is still really strong. She can obviously use her ability Tight Collar to basically remove whatever properties that has. It will apply Electro Element. So yeah, this can be good as well if you're trying to remove it, but I think for most players, Xinyan is going to be easy to use. Now, Ningguang is going to be an interesting character as well. I think she's going to be a bit different. She can fit both the main DPS and support role for sure, right? And if you want Constellation for her, again, we're going to talk about Constellation shortly. She has one of the better ones in my opinion in terms of Constellation. I would still go for Xingqiu in terms of the first priority if you don't care about Constellations, followed by Xinyan, Beidou, maybe Ningguang, and Chongyun at the third, and probably I'll put Xiangling last because like I mentioned, you already got her for free, right? So let's talk about Constellations. Alright, in terms of Constellations, how do you decide to pick this? Now, obviously, if you're looking to C6 a character, let's say your Ningguang right now is like C5, and then picking her is going to grant you a C6. Why not? Right? If that's the case, go ahead. Pick the character that you have closest to the max. So always keep in mind, if you're looking to build a character specifically, or one of these characters is like your main DPS, obviously try to get as high constellations for them. Now, if you're very far away from C6, let's talk about their constellations one at a time. So Xiangling, we're going to talk about Xiangling first from left to right. In my opinion, I have C6 Xiangling. Alright, I have C6 Xiangling, and I've been using her for the longest time ever. Of course, on and off, you know, she's friendship level 8 for me. But a lot of players have been saying the best constellation for Xiangling is going to be C4. Alright, so your Pyronidus duration is increased by 40%. Now this is huge. If you are using a Xiangling for support, which most players do, I mean, you can use her as main DPS, you know, running Crescent Pike, etc. But Xiangling, most of the time, C4 is probably her best constellation. Now C6 is not that important. You know, for the duration, all party members receive 15% pyro damage bonus. Now you might run an additional pyro damage with her to get the elemental resonance, but that's about it. So this will not benefit everyone, to be honest. You know, some of your character might be running cryo, etc. So this is not super important compared to the C4. Now in my opinion, if you can get Xiangling to C4, this is going to be really good. Now C1, a lot of players have said that this is really strong as well. I don't think so. Like, it's only for 6 seconds, right? If I have a main DPS Klee, I swap to Xiangling, I drop my Gold Bar, reduces enemies' pyro resistance by 15%, I swap back to my main DPS Klee. By that time, like, I only get like 4 to 5 seconds at most to benefit from this. And that's only if you do that in that sequence. What if you don't swap back to Klee? What if you swap back to a different character? To like a cryo character or to Xingqiu or someone else, right? Which is not. So I don't see the value in this personally, at least based on my combat style, unless you memorize how, in terms of the order that you want to place them. In most cases, these 6 seconds, once you switch your characters around, it's going to be like 3 to 2 seconds left. So the value is just not that high. So C4 is still the best one in my opinion. And then going into Xinyan. Now, Xinyan is probably the most interesting one in my opinion. Now, I'm deciding to perhaps pick her myself, but I still want to wait for Xiao's banner to have a look at what is available there. So looking at Xinyan's constellation, I'm gonna say C2 is her best one. Now, C2 on Xinyan is just insane, man. Your ultimate, your elemental burst, physical damage has its crit rate increased by 100%. Alright? This is insane. Every time you cast your ultimate, not only will you get your crit rate is 100%, you will also get a shield level 3 when you cast your ultimate. So this makes her an absolutely beast of a support. You swap to her, use the ultimate, and then you get a shield on all your characters, which is awesome, right? And you can build her towards the crit damage side. Alright, if you're not familiar, you know, when you build your characters towards the artifact, especially on the circlet right here, give her a crit damage set. Give her one of these crit damage, bam, build her with crit damage. She is going to deal so much damage. You can stack like 170, 180% crit damage. She's gonna jump in, use her skills, bam, that's gonna deal like insane amount of damage. Now keep in mind, her ultimate is a bit complicated. It does deal physical, okay, and then there's a couple of pyro DOT as well. So those will not crit as far as I'm concerned. Only the main physical damage will crit, but that's still a lot of damage. Alright, if you stack a bunch of damage on her, C2 is gonna make a good support for sure. So I think C2 is probably her best one. Now the rest might be useful if you intend to use her as a main DPS, but if you are going the support route, C2 is the best constellation for Xinyan, for sure. Alright, let's talk about Beidou. Fortunately, Beidou is also quite straightforward. In my opinion, if you look at the constellations, I'm gonna say C2 as well. Alright, so C2 make her ultimate jumps to additional 2 targets. So that's gonna be super helpful. Alright, when your Beidou spams ult, you will be able to make sure that the arc lightning can hit more targets that way, especially when there's a group of enemies. The C4 doesn't look that promising in my opinion. So you have to take damage, right? It's really weird. As a veteran player myself, I'm so accustomed to when enemies hit you, I try to dodge. So when you use Beidou C4, what, you have to like purposely not dodge to take damage? I don't know about this, man. Like, I honestly don't know about that. How good can that be? Now for C6, during the duration of Stormbreaker, okay, again that's the ultimate, the electro resistance of surrounding opponents is decreased by 15%. Now that's really good. C6 is always good on characters, but in my opinion, C2 is probably the best one for Beidou. And going into Ningguang, alright, so a lot of people say that Ningguang C6 is broken. I feel like every character C6 is pretty good, alright? And before C6, I'm going to say the best constellation is going to be at C2. Now C2 is going to make Ningguang probably a very good support because Jade Screen Shattered, you can purposely place this in the middle of a group of enemies. Hopefully they target it, try to stand in between the Jade Screen. And yeah, you can actually try to exploit this to make sure that it shatters immediately, and hopefully then you can cast it again. Ningguang's Jade Screen gives quite a lot of energy particles for those of you who are not aware. So therefore this would make her much more of a better support compared to all the other Geo. Now of course there's not much Geo characters out there, Zhongli, Albedo, then we have Ningguang and Noelle, right? If we're not talking about 5 stars, we're talking about 4 stars, we can only compare Ningguang with Noelle, and of course Ningguang is a better support than Noelle, unless we're counting Geo MC as well. Okay, so in terms of particles, Ningguang can generate a lot of it. So if you intend to use multiple Geo characters, so this is going to be very beneficial. And going into Xingqiu, again, we are seeing this pattern where C2. Xingqiu's C2 is probably the best constellation in my opinion, where it decreases the resistance. C4 is alright, but it's quite conditional. Now C6 does help Xingqiu with energy regeneration. It's like regenerates 3 energy when sword rain attack hits the opponent. It can help Xingqiu for sure, but right now I'm running Sacrificial Sword, alright? As you can see, I have about 177 energy recharge, and always there's no problem for me to generate energy. So since this Sacrificial Sword gives so much energy recharge, now this is the best weapon for Xingqiu by far, and I'm gonna say, yeah, C2. Very, very good on Xingqiu. So that is also an option that I'm still considering. And going to the last one, we have Chongyun. Okay, so I myself have C2 Chongyun already. And I was reading this C6. This is kind of awesome. Deals 15% more damage to opponents with lower percentage of their max HP remaining than Chongyun. Now, it's situational again, right? You have to make sure that you have a healer so that your HP is always higher than the opponent's. And this skill also summon 1 additional Spirit Blade. I'm not sure if this is like a must-have. It looks good for sure. The C4, yeah, you regenerate 1 energy every time you hit an opponent affected by cryo. But you have to keep in mind that based on this description, it seems that Chongyun has to be the one hitting the enemy. So unless he's like a main DPS, I don't see this as a must-have. So I'm going to say C2 is also his best constellation because this is insane. Now elemental skills and bursts cast within his frost field, which is his elemental skill, right? This one, have their cooldown time decreased by 15%. This will make Chongyun an incredible support, right? It will make sure that everybody else's skill will have their cooldown decreased by 15%. And I can see this being a prominent support constellation for sure. C2. Now, as you can see, in my opinion, alright, most of these characters, C2 is probably their best constellation. Now, if you already have someone at C1, you're thinking of picking them to get their C2 constellation too, you won't go wrong with majority of them. Alright, Xinyan, very good support. Beidou, awesome main DPS. Outlining can jump twice. Ningguang, gonna give you more energy regeneration. Xingqiu, you will have the ability to decrease enemies' hydro resistance. And of course Chongyun, now you have everybody's elemental skill and elemental burst cooldown decreased by 15%. Now the only one that I think is not that good is probably Xiangling. I think Xiangling's C4 is the best one for her. The C2 is mostly only if you intend to use her as a main DPS, but even then it's not like that big of a increase in damage. So yeah, overall, that's just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think and who do you guys intend to pick in this Stand By Me event coming in patch 1.3. As always, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, give this video a like. I will see you guys in the next one. Have a nice day. Goodbye.